Chancellor Dr. Chitkara, Vice Chancellor Dr. Madhu Chitkara, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, let me thank the Chitkara University for finding me worthy enough for this highest academic degree. Thank you, Dr. Chitkara. Thank you. And today is a very, very momentous day. Today is the Guru Purnima. And receiving the award makes a big difference. I need to thank all my gurus who really helped me to be what I am today. But the first guru in my life is my mother. The basic human values, the most complex symbols of the world, the alphabets and the numericals, were all taught by her. That is an area, or that is a learning which you will never forget in your work in the years to come. No guru can teach you unless you have learned this too complex thing called numericals and alphabets. So I pay my reverence to my mother. I also pay reverence to all my teachers in school, in college, even university, who really contributed to my growth and my knowledge. I pay my reverence to all my superiors, my colleagues, and of course, all my worthy subordinates who have all really contributed and towards my learning. While I'm expressing my gratitude and reverence to all my teachers and all my gurus, I also have to apologize to a guru of mine, a very eminent person, whom I gave a lot of sorrow and anguish. In 1987, when I finished my post-graduation in sociology from the Center for Advanced Studies at the University of Pune, that was a time when the Marxist ideology was at its peak. All universities and primarily faculties of social science, both teachers, the professors, students, the curriculum, were all leftist orientation or had a very strong leftist orientation. Even I remember that the wearing a shoe to the university classes was not looked up very well by those Marxist professors. But anyhow, I was a favorite of one of the very eminent Marxist professor, and it so happened that one of a renowned professor from again a Marxist philosopher, came from the British Columbia University, and I was told to make or present 3 papers using the Marxist methodology of dialectical materialism. I still remember the 3 papers which I presented were, number 1 was the peasant movement in Telangana, fishermen movement in Kerala, and a subject, the 3rd paper was praxism in Marxism. Now, post the presentation, I was presented to the professor, the professor from Canada, by my professor, and he said that I present my student to you, and he is going to do his PhD under you in Canada at the British Columbia University. I was happy, and the professor was very generous, gracious, and he agreed to a good amount of, a fellowship with good amount of Canadian dollars. As the process was on and I joined, I got a call from Symbiosis, and due to the external pressure of a PhD in Marxist philosophy or a MBA, external pressure was more important at that point of time, and I decided to go for it. I still remember when I went back to the professor and said that I am going for the MBA and I would not like to do this. The anger, the anguish in his face, because generally a Marxist professor believes he can indoctrinate any person. That's, of course, the ideology is also very, very strong. And he told me that you never show your face again. And for last 24 years, whenever I am in that city, I go to his house, I touch his feet, then 4 words of pleasantries, cup of tea, and there is silence. So in spite of all the effort, I could not really ask or convince. So I'm using this platform to ask for his forgiveness for whatever I have done. Now, being a student of management and also a practicing manager, I always had certain views and still have certain views which I have shared in multiple platforms, including the last World HRD Congress. So at the cost of repetition, I will again share my thoughts on that specific subject. Today, 4 billion people of the world are earning less than $2 a day. 70% of India's population are based or are in rural India with an earning of $1 or less than that. So does management has a solution for them? Last week, I was in a meeting to discuss the draft national accreditation policy for management institutes. And the Honorable Minister for HRD, Mr. Kapil Sibal, was also participant in that discussion. So his view was that MBA was created by the Western universities to serve the investment bankers. Can MBA give solution, or the management education or management science, can it give solution to the poverty, to rural development, upliftment of the farmers? If not, the minister of the view that we need to change our curriculum. The MBA curriculum needs to be Indian to solve Indian problems. Now this we have been discussing in various forums, that can we expand the application of management science beyond the limited corporate world. Today management science is limited to the limited corporate world, serving the few stakeholders or the shareholders. The debate is on what India requires. India and China primarily requires is inclusive growth and not raw capitalism. Many institutes, seats of learning, including I think Chitkara University, they're trying to focus on students and develop students who can solve Indian problems. We, like Mr. Chatterjee and me, we have started a small movement called the Leadership India Movement, where we say that we will create or present to you leaders with a difference, leaders with approach, leaders who can impact the society at large. I can assure you that in 5 years' time, this movement will replace all the Western leaders from the course curriculum. It will be replaced by the Indian leaders, whether it is in India or abroad. When 30% of the world population cannot afford a heart surgery, a gentleman and a doctor called Devi Shetty treats the poorest of the poor and he gives the same treatment. India needs leaders like Devi Shetty. India needs leaders with compassion. And I'm sure India is going to lead the world with leaders of compassion. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.